What's going on, everyone? It's Nav Sultan. This is Sultanic Thoughts. Today's topic is going to be about the red pill and the dangers of the red pills and the good sides of the red pill. Uh, you know, the red pill, to me, to be honest, it kind of seems like the feminism of, the male gender. It's a lot fixated on what's wrong with women, but at the same time, it does touch on a few things that are important for men to know. Media, culture, modern culture especially, has kind of painted up women to be these creatures that, do no wrong, are all tens. When things go wrong, blame it on the guy. Like they say, the man wants to leave the wife for a sexless marriage, and he becomes a scumbag. But then, when the wife says, I don't feel like sleeping with him anymore, everyone says, well, that's your right, that's you're not wrong for that, queen. And really, it just does not create a fair ground for men and women. But I noticed that with the red pill, just like feminism, a lot of people, for men, obviously it's the red pill; for women, it's the feminism. They use it as a way to deal with a lot of the grief and unprocessed, trauma, if you want to call it, even though some of the events aren't really traumatic, to kind of cope. It's a lot easier to blame women for, not being able to secure a good relationship, not be able to, find love and be in a marriage. And for feminism also, it's a lot more easier to blame men, for the problems that they deal with. And I noticed that the red pill can be extremely useful for, I say, naive guys. A lot of guys out here, they're not really acute to female nature. And I feel like the red pill needs to be like this 3 to 6 month phase for most men, where they kind of shed a lot of the myths and fantasy, Hollywood, Disney narratives that, get them involved in these relationships, get them acting a certain way, and basically end up with the worst side of the female. Ungrateful, bossy, entitled. Because, what turns women on, a lot of things that turn women aren't really flattering things to admit to. Women will not admit to these things. It makes them look manipulative. It makes them look trash. It makes them look untrustworthy. But at the same time, some guys use the red pill as a way to cope, and they end up what they call red pill rage, where they just start to hate all women. And they hate all women because the fantasy in their head has been completely shattered. It's been destroyed with some of the truths and facts. You have the show Fresh and Fit, and what makes that show really interesting and useful is that they bring the women on there, and Myron is just such a good talker, and he's such a good debater, and he's just so clever in his approach. He basically exposes their hypergamy. He brings out their, their shadow self, and shows a guy who's sitting there from wherever he is in the world, who has a Disney minded narrative about love and relationships, that, oh crap, women are really like this, women really do this kind of stuff, and it allows him to be a little bit more grounded and sucker free when he does get in his relationship. And you don't really want to stay in that energy long term. Um, when you stay in that energy long term, you everyone just becomes like a hookup, more or less. You don't really take anybody seriously. You don't give the chance to take somebody seriously, and that kind of hard wiring of your neural pathways will make it difficult to adjust when you do find a woman that has the potential to settle down with. You have to be able to be in control of it, like absorb the information, absorb the knowledge, but don't make it like a religion for yourself. um, Use the knowledge to create a dynamic in your next relationship where she respects you, she doesn't look at you as a sucker, as a simp, and she really starts to trust in your leadership. And you also understand her unconscious needs, you know what I mean, what she is looking for, and you can be that man for her and give her that security and that safety. But to I don't watch that show anymore because it's very redundant and I feel like I'm losing brain cells. But I remember when I would watch it, there's always be like so many super chats where it's just a man trying to put down the girls that are on the panel. And some are funny, some are witty, but a lot of them you could just tell it just comes from a place of hate and rejection and hurt. A lot of those guys, they're not in a good place. A lot of those guys have been played by women, or women that they really loved, and they kind of use that space as a way to cope with their anger. When, like we always talk on this show, their unprocessed trauma. And by trauma I just mean when bad events happen in life and the feelings of sadness or anger or grief, lower level emotions come to surface. When you push those down, that's what I mean by unprocessed trauma. Because the issue with that is that on an intellectual level you may have understood it, processed it, and categorized it where it needs to be, but on the body level, on the nervous system level, you haven't. And that comes out anytime you get into a situation that is similar to the thing that hurt you or caused you to feel those low level emotions. And yeah, that's a short video for the day. Like I said, one video for 30 days, and I have been taking a lot more calm and relaxed approach to these videos. However, I'm thinking of changing that and being who I kind of am with my friends. More funnier, more witty, more entertaining. It's just, just currently in life, I am going through what I'm going through, and I don't find a lot of things funny at the moment. It's all good. It's part of the process. So the videos do come off a little bit more serious and grounded. But if you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will be doing more of these female-male dynamic videos because I really do enjoy them. I enjoy learning about them, and also when I do share my perspective on them in the real world, people are very drawn to it, and especially men. Women say, "Oh, you understand women so well." I say, "Yeah, you think I understand women well? You should see how well I understand men. I understand men really, really well." But yeah, that's the video for today, guys. Peace, like, subscribe. Talk to you later.